everybody's here, I think, on this earth. They have their own natural rhythm of things. They have their own flow, their own gifts, their own skills. We can literally be and do whatever we want to do. You are Neo in the Matrix. You just got to realize you're the one. Find who you are, just to find what makes you happy and do it. And how can the world benefit from it? Like, what can you teach or give or share or, just do that benefits the world? What that gives is so much greater than the fear. Be you, find the strength to be you, because this is your life. You're here to be you as much as you can. The Big Bang happened and it's not finished. That expansion of the Big Bang is still happening now. It's not ended, and we've got to help that process along. You don't do that by suppression. You don't do that by letting yourself hide away from the fears and the insecurities we have. It's as long as we see that we've got them and we're going to say, right, I'll work on this. Great. You don't have to conquer them in a day, because I haven't. I'm still working on it. But it's like, you have to get that energy out. You're here to be a bit of life. We've got this body, which isn't ours. It belongs to the earth. And we've got these emotions and feelings, which are just responses to how we see the outside world and the memories that come in from past experience. But behind that is that consciousness, that life that is awake. And that needs to be let go. That needs to get out there. And you do that through self-expression. You do that through being who you are, and not the egotistical side, just being that drive and that heart and that love and that expression. And get it out. Get it out. Time's ticking. Go on, get out there, fight it, go beat the fears and go live your life.
Hello and welcome to the Truth, Health, Freedom podcast. Today, my guest is Craig Seaton, who is a holistic health and self-development coach, breathwork and meditation teacher, lucid dreamer, explorer of consciousness, and enthusiast of life. As a holistic self-development coach, he's devoted to raising human potential through growth of consciousness, mind, spirituality, physicality, emotion, and energy. So welcome, Craig Seaton.
Thank you very much, Alan.
Great to have you here. Now, what exactly is a holistic health and self-development coach?
A holistic health and self-development coach. It's a multitude of disciplines, or a congregation of different methods I've used for the last 11 years of doing personal training. And over that 11 years, I've focused on different areas of a person's fitness. So originally it was for the body and just the physicality to reach a certain point. And you realize is when you're getting somewhere that this is coming from the mind, and the drive for that certain part of the body is based on one's perception or one's self-limiting beliefs or what they want to achieve through desire, whatever the psychological reason is. So that was one aspect of it. The other aspects are the nutritional side of things, the food, what you put into your body, as you very well know how important that is. The mindset, the distribution and use of energy, as well as building up, and one's outlook on life. So that is the holistic way that I like to work with clients, is to bring those different sections together into one big pot and get the best out of the client I can through that holistic approach, rather than just one thing at a time, because we're not just one thing. There's a lot of things going on that need to be worked on to reach that optimum performance.
Okay. And when you began as a personal trainer, did you have much of a holistic approach, or did that just evolve with your work over the years?
That definitely evolved over the years. Yeah, when I started, it was all about get big, get muscle, look good, go out, get the girls, and that was it. At the cost of how the body feels, it wasn't a priority. If I just work on my biceps, on my chest, which a lot of young guys do when they first start training, it's because it's for image. It's not for health. It's not for well-being. It's self-destructive in a way, but it's not seen that way because it's, I'm looking good and I'm getting the results I desire. So it took me, I started training at 18. I was tiny in school, really, really small. And I just didn't want to be like that anymore. So I thought, okay, I'll get to the gym, which actually tied in with wanting to join the fire service. I thought I need some strength to do that. I can barely carry my rucksack to work, let alone pick up a hosepipe or a person. So I started training, and I had a really helpful trainer actually. And that thought, I like this. I feel good doing this. So I'd like to do this for people. So there was a bit of heart involved with it there, but mainly it was like, right, I want to look good. And then, the path changed along the way. About what was that? About 5 years later, I changed my approach a little bit from that point.
Okay. So what happened 5 years later?
5 years later, I got into meditation through a friend I used to go out with. So we used to go out, we were drinking a lot, I was out all the time, drugs, drink, women, everything again that a young person or a young male generally looks towards. And it's a part of life that you probably have to work through unless you've got really good guidance from friends or family, which wasn't really something that I was working with. It was that lifestyle of living in town, being young. Yeah, let's just go do it. And a friend who I was actually a bit of the ringleader for going out, which is, it's a wonderful story in its own, is that you know the people that you think you don't. They can lead you somewhere else. We never know what the interactions we have with people are for. We might know it for one day, and then a year later it's changed and we've got something else from that relationship. So yeah, this guy, he said, let's go and try meditation now. Let's give meditation a go. And I was a bit surprised. I was like, oh, why do you want to do that? And like his stance of going to yoga or trying absolutely anything was because, there might be some girls there that I've not met before. I was like, okay, ninjas do meditation. Ninjas are cool. I'll come give it a go. So we went to the local Buddhist center, and I looking at the classes, and all that's left was available because they had meditation class, they had Buddhism, or they had meditation and Buddhism. So the only class that was available was the meditation and the Buddhism. So, okay, I'll sign up for it, and it fit in the only day that I had available for it. Went to the first meditation session, and I was very fortunate to have such a grand experience there. I thought, wow, there's what have I just felt? What just happened there? Why was that so deeply moving for me? And that was the spark that started the whole journey from the age of 24 to 6 years later, where I am now, where it's just deepened and expanded and took me down all kinds of paths and roads to really change who I am deeply as a person, quite drastically as well, and which changed my business to going from personal training to holistically training people with the idea to make them healthier and clearer and live a better life. And that was through my own experience, really, that fired that off.
Okay, and that very first experience, it was obviously quite profound. Are you able to put it into words, or is it something that's beyond words?
I can put it into words. Again, the feeling, the words never do the feeling justice and never do the experience, the truth of what's deserved. But it was just that stillness. I got it. I felt it in that one meditation, with having no interest or desire to follow this path. I just went into what was given to me, and bang, there it is. Sat down, meditated, found this stillness, and just felt absolutely on point. Like, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be. That's it. You don't need to do anything else. And, the meditation stopped, and then it was just still in my head. Like, you need to discover this. You need to find out what that was all about and why it feels the way it does. And is that a permanent state that's accessible to me and everybody all the time? And that was it. The trail started from that beautiful, blissful experience. And, yeah, that was it.
So where did the trail go next? You were at this Buddhist center. Did you just keep returning to the same place?
At the start, yeah, I did for a long time. I did many. They did about 5-week courses at times. They'll do one course and they'll have a 2-week break, and then they'll do another course. So I did several of them and got a deep love for Buddhism and meditation, which led me to do several different retreats, mainly Buddhist retreats at the time. Was the 7-day silent retreats. There's no talking for 7 days, which was a brilliant experience. There was the Tibetan monastery, Samiling up in Scotland, where I spent a New Year's on my own, which was, again, a wonderful thing. And that took me to lucid dreaming and Tibetan yoga dreaming. So that was being practiced pretty much as soon as I had this experience with meditation Buddhism. It was all like, right, an instant, you've got to go out and find this. And I had no other choice. It was just it was pulling me along, and I couldn't stop reading, to the point where my relationships were actually suffering because I was so invested in discovering what it was that I'd been through. My relationships changed a lot. The friendship group changed dramatically at that time, and it was a hard experience. It's tough because you're going from something that and you're trying to go into something that's completely alien and completely different. But you've also got the old world that's saying, no, you're staying here. We don't want you to change. What if you stop drinking for? Come on, how are we going to go out? And and changing the food from meat eating, working in a gym with like 20 other PTs who are all big dudes, and you go vegetarian, and then you just get nothing but crap off everybody, and there's no support of change. It's it always puts the spotlight back on us, doesn't it? Like, oh, what are you doing that for? Rather than, oh, that's cool, good luck with it, you know? There was a lot of that because I was at a younger age too. So there was contending with that. But yeah, the other experiences came along then were the discovering of more meditation, different retreats, Buddhism, Sufism, Zen Buddhism, Gnosticism, meditation, psychedelics, lucid dreaming, breathwork, ice showers. So many came along on the path. It's been amazing, and it's still going. You know, it's not stopped. It's still going.
Wow, that's an amazing journey so far, and an amazing list of things that you're interested in. But the point that really stuck out to me there was that lack of support early on. So you must have had a deep belief inside of yourself that this was the right thing for you to do and that this was going somewhere. And how did you find that strength? Where did that come from in the face of all the criticism and ribbing that you got from your mates and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, just because nothing could contend with what I'd experienced. Like it led to deeper levels of philosophy and understanding of what the universe is and what we are trying to understand as individuals. We have drives in one way and we're culturally manipulated and we're directed a certain way with our mind, and the brain is unbelievably fantastic as it is a tool, and it can be shaped a certain way for us to find our interests, our desires, our passions, and the things that we feel, and we're so right, and this is the right path, and all that it just could not compare to that understanding and stillness I felt through the meditation or through psychedelics or through lucid dreaming. It was like, it doesn't matter what's happening outside. I mean, it's great. The world is an absolutely beautiful place, but all the external factors and all the things that the senses are taking in, it just couldn't match up to that peace and that stillness and that understanding I'd experienced. And that was it. It was that I didn't even try to be strong because I didn't need it. I'd understand when the time is hard, but it's like, yeah, it's you've got this bar of gold sitting next to you, or you can have 1,000 2p and 1p coins. Like every time, well, I'll just take this simple bar of gold. You can keep all those other objects and the coins and whatnot. Like that will do, because you know the weight and the value of what the truth is, really. Definitely what my truth was. And yeah, there was never really any contest. The hardest part was probably in the relationship I had when I was changing dramatically and very rapidly, which, from a compassionate point of view, it's hard for the people around you too. It's not just a case of, oh, I want to grow, so sod you guys. It's like, well, you are changing in that circle of friends, of family, of relationships, and it's not easy for other people to see too. It's you were the person they knew, and now you're changing. Like, yes, there should be support there, but also that person has to make their peace and understanding with it too. And I can't be like, well, I'm doing it because it's better for myself and it's better for the world, because you can get a bit ignorant with that approach. You can see that in a lot of protests or how people try and get their message across. I always refer to the preacher in the street, the guy with the megaphone. It's like, Jesus will come and save you. And, maybe so. But if you're out yelling it in somebody's face, nobody's going to come and listen. Nobody wants to listen to that person, even if they're right. So yeah, that's how it was.
And were you dealing with it skillfully at that time, or were you yelling it in people's faces?
Oh man, I was a yeller. When Facebook, you get these, here's you from 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago. It's like, oh man, did I say that? Was I saying that? Was I being so preachy? And there is that craft of developing the ability to get your message across, but knowing it's your message. If it attracts people, wonderful. The moth to the flame, be the flame. But the flame's not running around trying to get the moths. The flame's just going, yeah, I'm a flame, man. If the moths come to that, wonderful, great. But yeah, that took time and self-reflection too, because I would get into some big debates and arguments, especially when politics would be on the agenda, or not eating animals, and it's like, understand where you are, be at peace with that. If somebody comes and asks you about it, great. Or if you put a status out and people want to debate about it, great. When it's done with that anger and that, no, I'm right and you're wrong, we're not getting anywhere. That's just banging your head against the brick wall, isn't it? For me, at least, it hasn't worked, and I'm yet to see it be extremely efficient for one person with his own personal view on the world.
And I suspect that if you're looking into things such as the mind and consciousness and emotion, then all the topics of how to deal with this more skillfully would come up. Are there any particular books or teachers or lecturers or gurus that influenced you to help you navigate this more skillfully, so that you're, so that you have progressed from where you were 4 years ago, from the flame that went around chasing them off?
Yeah.
Who's helped you along that way? Who are these wise sages that you might learn from?
It's a pleasure to be able to talk about these guys, because they've changed my life so profoundly. I have a picture frame at home just by the door, and it's got 6 pictures in it, and a lot of them are my big inspirations for helping me grow and helping me understand and relax on my own ego and connect back to that feeling I experienced through meditation, and try and make that more of a permanent state, because the emotions that pull you around, you forget it, you get lost in the external world. But the influence is, number one, straight off the bat, Alan Watts. Alan Watts' talks, they're so beautifully constructed. The ones with the music, the shorter ones, if you've seen any of the videos, but they're just so, they touch me very, very profoundly. Or his longer lectures, I could sit there and I'd just sit down for like 2 hours listening to him talk and going, yeah, I could connect to that. And then going back to those same talks a year, 2 years later, or using psychedelic substances to listen to them and getting a different state of consciousness and awareness, like, it just shows you that onion layer is always peeling back. And when you think you know something, you might come back to it a year and see a deeper thing that you didn't see that first time. It doesn't end. But Alan Watts amazingly helped along my journey. Krishnamurti, fantastic for just cutting out the bullshit, really, and just going, bang, look at yourself. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? He doesn't play around. The Buddha, the teachings from Jesus, Krishna. We've got Sadhguru, and all the people who pioneer really their own belief in what it is they're doing, their message. Like yourself with the podcast, it's like, that's you doing you, going through whatever you've got to do to get to that point. And this is why everybody eventually is the teacher, because you can see, this dude's doing something and it's great. How have you got to the point to do what you want to do with whatever comes with that, And I think adopting that perspective, going from your inspirations to taking that down from who inspires you, and using those eyes to look every day, having a one-on-one conversation and going, what can I learn from this person? I see from on this path I did get quite ignorant, really, in myself, and big-headed, being like, we'll have this conversation with somebody, and because I went so intense with it, I learned a lot in a short time, but it wasn't practiced, it was just learned. And I have a conversation and be like, I know what this person's saying. I want more information, I want something new. And it's like, well, even in that, it doesn't matter if you know what somebody's saying. I can learn from my own impatience, which was a big thing, my own impatience of what somebody else is saying. Like, why am I making it about me? Can I learn to relax my impatience? Can I just let go and be present while somebody's talking about something that maybe I don't have an interest in? Well, there's an opportunity to work on acceptance of what's going on around me. If it's nobody's being harmed, that practice itself is of major benefit, because that's your life. It's Jordan Peterson quote. He says your whole life is made up of 80% of your whole life is made up of your daily interactions. So how you talk to your partner when you get home, if you make your bed, and are you listening to somebody? Do you see certain things when you're walking around the street and make instant judgments? And what are the words you're using in your head? Because that's the feeling you're creating, and it's work on that, man. Because that's where you change your whole life, by that daily feeling you get when you wake up, and learning what the triggers are and learning how to let them go. Like, I've had numerous inspirations, but those guys, they've changed a lot for me.
Okay, and these triggers, is there an art to spotting the triggers and doing something about them? Because I know some people, they don't even realize they're being triggered. And some people, they get triggered, but they don't know how to stop it. What's the skill here? What's the art? And what can people practice? What could you teach people? Say you're being a holistic health and self-development coach for someone. How are you guiding them through this process?
I say, one, it really is not taking yourself so seriously, because if you say something, and even to those closest to us, like with a partner, if you've got a partner, you've got your best teacher you're ever going to have, but because you can say a certain thing where in relationships, this person's not done the dishes and it's really pissing me off and you're getting so mad about it. It's like, okay, first of all, let's just let the anger go. The fact is the dishes haven't been done. Yeah, you might be annoyed by that. You say, why haven't the dishes been done? I felt really crap today and I'm feeling fatigued. And you say, okay, I'll happily do them for that way. But if they've just been left and that person's done it maybe because there's an issue in the relationship itself, maybe it's a kick and say, I'm not going to do what you say because there's a problem lying elsewhere. There's always that motivation behind it. It's how we work with the issue at hand. So the main issue being that feeling of going, right, I'm angry, I'm pissed off. Okay, what's this going to serve? Because if I feel that anger and I take it out on this person, I might be making that person worse or want to react even worse towards me. And I don't feel good when you're angry. It's not constructive. It's not going to go anywhere. So you recognize that you are, and you also take all that and go, right, I need to work on those things that trigger me. Do I need to speak up and say something, or do I need to learn to relax and let it go a little bit? So it's noticing that it's there, because it's so easy to get pulled into the river of where's this emotion going? You know, I'm going to run away with it. I'm going to go on a rampage, you know, and cause it right around town because I'm so angry. And then, you know, you see something going on, or you might see homelessness or somebody who just looks different, and you're just pissed off, oh, that person's looking different, you know, I'm not happy with that today, because you're already fired up with this anger emotion. When, let's say, you wake up and you feel great and you're walking down the street and you're happy to say hello to anybody, you're happy to smile, and even if somebody doesn't smile back, you don't care because you're in that happier emotion, that better state. So it's got to be continuous self-awareness, and anything that triggers it, it's got to be, why have I been triggered and what can I do about it? And the more and more we can catch that, the quicker we can catch it, the easier the issues with others and ourselves can be resolved.
So are you getting better and better at that yourself? Do you find that you can look back, say 6 months ago, a year ago, and say, yeah, I would have dealt with that differently a year ago?
For sure. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I look back at my previous relationship when I was going through this ginormous change, and God, how ignorantly and selfishly I would handle problems then to the way I do now. You know, working one-on-one and with businesses and group clients for over 11 years now. It's, you know, with the gym alone, there's so much observation going on that we don't recognize even what our goals are. You know, why am I in the gym? Why am I training? Well, I want to look better. What do you want to look better for? Just because I do. What do you mean just because you do? No, that's generally the route. I want a bigger arms, or I want a bigger butt, or my waist wants to be slimmer. And it's like, why? You know why you're doing it first, not just because it's based on image. The observation has to be there to see that it's a deeper thing, that maybe we feel inadequate, maybe we don't feel loved enough, maybe we're not happy with our own image because of XYZ that's happened back in school, or the media that's posted on our face. It's knowing what it is and finding out if that is a truthful, beneficial motivator, or do we have to learn to let go of that and steadily change, which takes a lot of work, and to use that skill to talk to other people and ourselves is tremendously beneficial, because we've got a helping hand there to say, all right, you know, question what you know about yourself to learn that, grow. And I've definitely made progress with it, but then you see more and more of those things to work on. Maybe it stops at some point, but it's like, okay, I reacted wrongly there, and I reacted wrongly there. Okay, let's catch it quicker and quicker until you're able to just be present in all those situations and see the emotions as they arise, but not catch them. Not hold on to that kite and be pulled away, you know, let the kite go past and just breathe and take it easy. But it takes a lot of work. The job's definitely not finished.
Yeah. Now, you've mentioned listening before, you know, when you were preaching, you weren't listening so much. And it sounds like, it's funny because the interview I did yesterday, we were talking about the art of listening as well. You know, it's very useful in podcasting, but it's useful in life. It's just such a great life skill. But it sounds like you're not just learning to listen to other people. You're having to learn to listen to yourself as well at the same time.
Yeah. I think that listening to the self is, even that takes a skill, because you don't know which part of it is talking to you. You know, if you've established your ground set of values, your morals and your rules, you know, when you're in a calm place, you can get them out. You sit down, right? Go, what do I believe in? Who's the person I want to be? And what are the virtues? Do I want to be peaceful? Do I want to be loving? Do I want to be helpful? Do I want to be patient? Yes. All right. So I'll make myself a commitment to hold on to them as much as I can. And it's remembering them, because the voice will say, all right, I'm angry with this person. They've done something and it's infuriated me. Then those virtues will go, because you'll be running off with that anger and that, no, I'm right, and you should not be behaving like this. You should not be doing that. It's like, well, that isn't the compassionate aspect there that I might want to work on. That isn't the patience of asking why this event has happened and why that person's reacted out, because there'll be a motivating factor for that somewhere. So it's listening to the self needs to be so clear on who it is that we're trying to achieve to be in that constant place, being able to arrive at different situations and troubles and whatever the situation may be, is that you arrive there in that constant flow. And even if you have to use a different trait, working with anger, there's always that tale of when Jesus is in the synagogue and the Jews are all trading and selling the animals, and he arrives there and he was like, no, this is what you're doing in God's church, and he's whipping them and pushing the tables over, and it's like, that took me a bit to figure out, like, hold on, there's been anger expressed there. But working on that, that's tough love. It's okay, here's the message, and if it's not being received, we have to deliver the message this way. This is that level of frequency or understanding that person operates on. So somebody who's able to master themselves can use that level of expression in a constructive way. You can look at kids, if you've got parents who just let their kids run wild and run amok, and they're not given any discipline that will help them develop as a person, then that kid can grow up to be an absolute ignorant person who doesn't care about others and thinks I can have things my way all the time because they were never taught differently. And then the scale for that child to bring that back in their own life's journey is going to be really tough. While if they were taught with disciplined love at a certain point, hey, no, you can't do that. That's not cool. Don't be stealing other kids' toys, or don't be selfish with what you're doing, or don't be bullying people. Then that discipline is there, but it's done with love. It's not done with anger itself.
So again, this is like deja vu, because again, in yesterday's interview, we had the subject of tough love coming up as well. So really, this shows that all the emotions and expressions are actually valuable and useful, but it's knowing how to use them, and it's the intent behind them that really matters.
Definitely. Yeah. Who's driving the car,
Yeah.
Who's driving the vehicle? That's the important part. If it's that loving part that wants the best for yourself and the best for others, then you're in a good seat. But it's checking it when that expression is there, when that anger, that hatred, the impatientness, whatever it is, it's come about. Like, is it justified, or are you doing it to just go off the ego and because you want to come out on top? And I think the big dilemma with that is it's not easy for people to accept that I'm the one who's wrong here, even though something's pissed me off. I'm the one who's wrong. Can I accept that, and can I learn to grow over it and not be bothered by those little things?
And how do you mentioned the kind of person you would like to be and the kind of traits you'd like to have. How do you go about trying to steer yourself in that direction? Do you start with affirmations or a meditation or writing things down? How does this process work for you?
I think that level of self-development, it does require structure, and always having it down on paper. I mean, I have several varied journals for different things that I'm working on. I'll have my pen, I'll sit down and I'll write in, and with that is, who do I want to become? How do I get there? How do I work on those traits? And every step of the day is trying to maintain that, or at least when you get home at the evening, you have a self-reflection. You sit down and you relax, go, how did I work in when this occurred today? Or how did that go? How was my time spent? How was I talking to people? What were my quality of thoughts? Because all of that is the influence of who we are going to become. And the more we can get rid of the negative ones, the parts that we don't want, all the better for ourselves. So it's a daily thing. It's not done, right, I'm just going to do it today on Tuesday because I woke up and I'm feeling great. You've got to do it when you're feeling crap as well, or, when you're feeling a bit tired, or you really don't want to do it today. It's that 5 minutes, 10 minutes to yourself to focus on those goals in the morning and really push through. Because if we just allow it to a whim that I want to develop this trait of happiness every day, well, all right, how happy are you in the job in general that you do? Are you happy there, or does it have a big, massive drain of energy where you can't be happy? Are there other people in there that really factor that you can't actually do anything about that person? And looking at that and going, well, will I achieve this standard of living that I want in my daily life if I'm in this position, or if I'm in this place? Do I have to change it that way? Because, you're living with yourself at the end of the day, regardless of having to pay the bills or sustain certain relationships or have hobbies that we want. Like, how much of that is conducive to the person you want to be and the person you want to become? And knowing that inside and out and sticking to it, that being an affirmation, maybe in the morning, definitely what I do is the basics of looking after yourself. Eat well, sleep well, meditation in the morning, and breath work for myself and ice showers. That daily routine, bang, I'm feeling good. I've done that and I'm already on a high. So that energy is going to be there. And it's much, much easier to interact with the rest of the world that's out of your control on a beneficial level, on a level to stay at your highest peak. And the real test is when you're tired and when you're hungry and when you've had some bad news, how nice are you to people? How nice are you to yourself? Then that's where you see the real level that you're at when you drop to the bottom. Can you still maintain it?
So you mentioned what you do every morning. Are there any mornings where there just isn't time? For some reason, something comes up, there's not time. And can you feel the difference that day?
Yeah, but there only isn't time if I've allowed that there isn't time. If I've gone to bed too late, that's me going to bed too late. It's not scheduling it. But let's say I finish work maybe at 9 o'clock and I'll go home. I'll eat some food and then, right, I'll go to bed. Knowing that I've got to be up the next day, say 5 o'clock for a 6 a.m. client. That would be, get to bed for 10. So what, 7 hours there. So yeah, we get 7 hours sleep. Ideally, I work off 8. That's my strong run. But even that 7 hours, then I would still get up because that time to do that morning ritual is so effective. The simplistic things are so underestimated. Like that has to be done. Even if I had 5 hours sleep, maybe I'll shorten it down. Maybe I'll just keep 20 minutes to get up and to do 10 minutes of breath work and tie the meditation deeply into the breath work and then have the cold shower. Squeeze it in 20 minutes. It's like, is that 20 minutes of sleep actually going to change the day, or will that practice enhance the day? And the days that I haven't done it, because obviously do come around, we can't be on top of it every day, but the days that it does come around, I notice the difference. I'm ready for the day to end. You know what I mean? It's like, this day can be over now, so I can have that fresh start to come again. And that alone, it seems opportunity wasted because I haven't planned efficiently enough for myself. But these things arise, happens.
So that practice is more valuable to you than the extra 20 minutes in bed when the alarm goes off.
Definitely.
Yeah. And these affirmations, what kind of things are you focusing on when you're doing affirmations, your meditation? How does that work for someone who's never done these things before? What are you actually doing? What are you saying to yourself? Is it written? Is it all done in the head? Eyes open, eyes shut? How is it out loud? How does this work?
Yeah, well, I'll go through my personal preference first, and then what I share with my meditation clients in the group classes that we do is, for me, it'll be waking up. I'll do a little bit of yoga, stretching, and mobility just to loosen the body, because that's majorly important. We get out of bed and we're all tight. We've been hunched around for 8 or so hours in a posture that's not effective for waking up and flow of energy. Like, that has to be changed straight away. People not even stretch and go through the whole day still in that posture, or then sit down at a desk to increase the potential pains and issues of that posture, rather than spending 2 minutes to just stretch out and free themselves out. So it'll be stretching, which takes about 5 minutes, and then it'll be breath work and meditation and mantra in one big go. Now, this can vary up to minimum 20 minutes, up to an hour, depending on how much time I have for that day. But it'll be the stretching, then it will be alternate nostril breathing, so a style of pranayama where you're breathing in through one nostril, close the nostril, you exhale out. This is done in the standard meditation posture. And then it will be mantra. So the mantras can vary, but I generally stick with the Om mantra, or Om Mani Padme Hum, the Buddhist mantra, which I really like. And they are basically, as much as resonance and sound, it has an effect on the body and everything around us. I'd go with the ones I like, or the goes with the one that I want to feel like today. The ones that have twigged a certain feeling or emotion, or that virtue in the mind. And then it'll be more breath work after the mantra, where the breath I will speed up and increase, like a fire breath, tomo, which is also called. And from there, using that breath work with certain locks and holds in the body through yoga. And then the state of bliss comes with that. Once you've worked physically and you've done breath work, it's much easier to slow the mind. The mind then goes into a nice, easier pace. It's the body and the mind, the spirit. There's not separation to it. So if you're looking after one or you're not looking after one, it's going to have effect on the other. People will try and do meditation where they've been working their ass off all day and the mind's been very intellectually driven, or even wasting energy by looking at a computer doing something simple. It costs a unit of energy. It's costing energy to focus on that and to do it, much as eating food or doing some movement uses that food, it uses that calorie. The mind, it's no separate, it's no difference. So then you want to go sit home and meditate and you fall asleep straight away, or the brain's been working so fast that it's just, as we all have experienced, the thoughts are just flying around. But if you use that whole practice of working the body to relax it, you're going to sleep better, but the mind will calm down. Using the breath to slow, because the emotions and the mind follow the breath too. You slow that down, the mind will follow that, and then it's much easier to work on the mind from that perspective. And yeah, once I've done that, I'll take the cold shower. The cold shower is like, you don't need caffeine anymore once you get into those cold showers. That gives me a right kick. And that'll be my personal practice. And these things are, you can change them and address it to yourself a little bit more, because to make it personal helps a lot. Going through different philosophies and traditions. I've varied again from going into Buddhism to Hinduism to Gnosticism to Sufism, and finding all these different methods and ways that other cultures or other groups would find their way into spirituality or their way into calmness and stillness. And you've got to know what works for you. You've got to try them and go, right, this is mine. I've been to the buffet and I like the vegetables and rice rather than the pasta or the pizza or the curry, whatever. You take your plate after you've looked at what's on the table, and you sit down and you eat it.
So it's not one size fits all.
Hell no, definitely not.
So you kind of, with your clients, you might present a few different options and then get the feedback of how they felt doing the different practices, and then the ones that they seem to like, that seem to work for them, you'd kind of follow down that path. Is that the kind of approach you use? Yeah,
definitely, because they can all be expanded upon as well. You might find once you've done one practice, it really clicks in and it nails it, and you can maybe take it to a practice it was more difficult to bring that in. With meditation, let's just say the basic sitting down. There'll be people who won't be able to get into that state of meditation because their hips are so tight and the lower back is causing a lot of trouble, which is extremely common. Myself as well, when I started, couldn't
feeling it now.
And there it is. And that then shows us, okay, maybe we should work on the physicality of the body a little bit, but also I want to meditate, but right now I'm not in the same position to do it. All right, let's sit on a chair and do it. You can even lie down and do it. The only danger with lying down and do it is it's much easier to fall asleep, as that frequency of brainwave drops. You kind of skirting above the sleep brainwave. And, so I've been running a free class in Manchester town for 3 years now. And when new people come, you always get somebody always falls asleep and snores. And again, that's fine. That's part of learning to control that brainwave.
Shows it's working, for people who struggle to get sleep and struggle to relax. That just shows it's super effective, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're right. And in fact, one thing with the class that I noticed was people use it more as a break to get away from work. So they have something to go to, as well as maybe the keen interest in meditation, but also just to let go. It's not like, right, we're going to go deep and we're going into astral realms and we're going into the dimensions or deeper parts of your mind. It doesn't have to be anything spiritual. It can be look after yourself. Just let your mind relax. Let your body relax. I had a Wing Chun teacher, and he once said something great to me. It's all about softening of the body. You're not trying to punch or move. This is a martial art. You're not trying to punch or move too much with force. It's just letting go. And we're doing like the Tai Chi practices, and I'm stood there with my arms out in that soft bent position. He's like, relax your shoulders. Let him go. He's like, no, relax your shoulders. I'm like, okay, try a bit more. And he's like, relax. I'm like, I thought that was as relaxed as it can go. And he said, no, it's the body's so, especially Western way, and with the previous training history, so used to creating tension and contraction that we don't really know what relaxation is. And he said, his quote was, it's hard work to relax. And he's on point. You go to bed at night, and if you pay attention to your body, you'll see it's probably stiff as anything, stiff as a wardrobe. The shoulders are tense, the lower back's tight, and it's just learning to let that go. So some people would come to the meditation class for that, and that's fine. If I can provide that service where they're going to be able to let go, great, because that itself will lead to a deeper exploration of possibly of deeper purposes of why they're here and what they want to do with their lives. And we can't look at that stuff if we're tense and if we're always working, if the mind's racing, if we're stressed and worried. How can we look at deeper questions and deeper meanings?
Yeah, it's like there's no room to let it in.
No.
Or no room to listen to it. There's so much chatter that you can't hear it. Yeah, that's really interesting. And again, I can totally relate to what you said about the lower back, and I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling it now, and I wasn't joking. And the tension in the shoulders, and with me, it's especially the right one. And it's so hard to let it go. And the more someone tells you to let it go, the harder it is to let go. And that must be a real skill and takes so much practice and patience to actually get there. Now, I felt what it's like to feel that relaxation, but I had a little help when I was doing it. So when I experienced, for example, the ayahuasca, I've noticed that my posture is perfect, but I'm not having to work to hold it up. If I was doing Pilates, it'd say, okay, what you need to do is hold your core and all this kind of stuff, and then stack every vertebrae nicely and pull from the bottom and pull from. No, there's none of that. There's just, you just be, and your knees are soft and naturally you're not focusing on it, and everything's just perfectly balanced. Your shoulders relax, and I can see that's kind of our natural state. And I sometimes watch children, and they will just fall into a nice squat position, completely naturally, and their shoulders will sit completely perfectly, because especially before school, because they've not been sat behind the desk, they've not been sat behind the computer yet. And then as the years go by, they lose that natural softness, and actually that's not an inevitable process of aging. It's a consequence of our lifestyles. And so if that's the lifestyle, then we've got to do something to counteract that, haven't we?
Exactly, because it's those daily habits. So it's that repetition that we put into our body in our life. It has that consequence. Like, it's simple, it's completely overlooked at the power of it. And applying those physical principles, where if you're stuck behind a desk and you don't get up and move, it's going to take its toll, and your body will be in that'll be its posture to sink into. And the mind is no different. If you're having a certain quality of thought where it's quite negative and it's defeatist, and it's not believing in the self, or it's frustrated all the time at the way the world is, or angry at other people, like, that's going to be very hard to let go of, which I know, working on that myself, you've got work to change it, it's training the mind.
Yeah. So it's funny because you mentioned the body there, and your stretching and your movement, because in the introduction you mentioned you've got consciousness, mind, spirituality, physicality. So I was going to say, how has your physicality changed on this journey? Because you mentioned you were doing these movements that required holding a lot of tension around the shoulders, around the chest. That was where you were coming from. It's now almost the opposite. How has your own physicality changed? Are you able to maintain strength while increasing your relaxation and your flexibility and your mobility? What's happening in your body these days?
Well, right now it is it's martial arts, it's movement, yoga, it's just getting into parkour as well. I practice with a bow staff and nunchucks, and just for fun. Like, my exercise now is just for fun, because I got severely bored and unenthusiastic about doing weights, about lifting the weights. And don't get me wrong, there's tremendous benefit, and I'll still occasionally pick up a bar for some deadlift or some squats, but I just love working with the body. I love press-ups, I love pull-ups, I love handstands, walking on my hands, I love martial art movements, I love kicking, all this stuff that feels more like play. Feels more like play to me. And again, that's just an outcome of how severely I smashed going heavy over, from 18 to 25. I was so hard on it that it kind of kicked back at some point, because being a personal trainer and in this business for 10 years, I stopped training at a point for 6 months, like nothing. Didn't do yoga, didn't do nothing for 6 months. And that can be an outcome of overconsumption at some point. You eat too much chocolate cake, you don't want that next slice, do you? And that was what it was with training. And how that evolved was, I got started into it, one, to build strength for the fire service, and then to help others and get into PT, but mainly for image. And, at that point where it took me to mild anabolic steroids, I did a steroid called Anavar at the time, which is nothing to do with injections, because I always had this terrible fear of needles, but it was, it's one that you just swallow. So, I take them, and this kind of stuff was rife as well in that industry at that age with other trainers, and you just fall along with it, and it's just damaging. It's just self-damaging to the point where my muscle was so stiff even when I wasn't training, my back was causing me immense pain, and this was nothing more than ego lifting or covering up my fears and my insecurities, and just just get bigger, that'll sort it out. You'll be like then, or you look good and you get girls and you look great on nights out, and just destructive.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. I was probably 17 to 20 was my time in the gym, and it was because I'm a little bit older than you, it wasn't as normal and as commonplace as it is today.
Yeah,
but it was driven probably more by a fear of not looking a certain way than the desire to be a certain way. Don't get me wrong, I loved being in the gym. I loved the feeling of accomplishment, of getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And I was working on my flexibility as well. And every time I went to the gym, I had to do more than the time before. And I loved it. And I also found it quite meditative. The focus of the breath and the movement, I actually found it really beneficial. But there was a flip side to it, that the bigger and stronger I got, the more self-critical I would become of my body. And it's something, I'd call it bigorexia. That's what I call it. And it's this fear that men have. It's similar to anorexia is more commonplace among women. Bigorexia is more commonplace among men. And I remember hearing a radio show on Radio 5 Live, and there was it was about problem drugs, and the expert from the drugs charity came on and said the biggest problem among young men is not what we'd call recreational drugs, it's steroids. And it's a big problem these days. And I've seen the change, because I'm in my 40s now, so I've seen the change over the last 20 years. And men these days, the pressure on them to be big is so much greater than it was in my day. You only need to look at a footballer from the late 80s, early 90s, and look at his shape compared to a footballer now. Look at a movie star from that time to now. Look at a Star Wars toy from the 1970s and 80s compared to a Star Wars toy now. Spider-Man costume back in when I was a kid was just a Spider-Man costume. These days it's got all the muscles on it. It's got the pecs, it's got everything. Exactly. And that pressure going into the male mind just wasn't there back then in the way that it is now. And it's really hard to actually resist that. And I suppose it starts with awareness, and then finding the true self inner confidence to actually say, no, I want my body to be healthy, functional and strong, but I don't want to have to conform to this stereotype if it means pumping steroids into my body, if it means I'm going to wake up every day with back pain and stiff shoulders. And
it becomes a battle again. It's that part of the mind, like what do I want to be and why do I want to be it? No, why? A lot of these competitions where so many of the general public now get into the body performance competitions, getting up stage and to be critiqued. And again, you look at Schwarzenegger, like amazing, what the human body's capable of if you're going in that direction. And it was much more small mass stream then, when he was doing his thing, it was like he would struggle to find a gym in the area wherever he was because it wasn't there, but it's everywhere now. And how accessible it is to the public to think, you know what, I'm gonna get up stage and I'm gonna see what I can get, see if I can come first, or show other people my achievement of the body. And it's tricky because there can be benefit of that, like look at what I can do, look at how I can transform myself. But I think it's much easier to get poured into the downward cycle of it. It's like, right, now I've got to be bigger than next year. Now I need to look better than this person. Now I need to go get a stronger tan. And having a lot of friends and this close to doing it myself, it's good to have that focus and that drive to go somewhere. But what is the motivator behind it? Why do we want to be so big? Why do we want to be number one and not happy with what we are and where we are? We're just working for a level of fitness that benefits everything. You mentioned the focus and how good it feels to go, I've done a stronger way and I feel great. Like, yeah, good, because it's a benefit to the body. But you can't take that all the way and keep going. Say you get to deadlifting at 150 kilograms and you're about like myself, I was 70 kg. Great, it's double my body weight. Do I need to go any higher? Like, what for? To be better and better? For what purpose? When am I going to need to lift that weight that takes a toll on me for a lot of energy and a lot of fatigue? But everybody's built differently. Everybody has the motivation, and some people can lift phenomenal amounts of weight, and it's great because it's, again, look at what this human can do. Look at the strongman competitions; those guys are amazing. But it's knowing why. You know, does it serve the purpose for you, or is it for somebody else? Is it to cover up a fear and anxiety and insecurity, or is it because you just enjoy doing it and it's a positive construction that way? Because you can get energy from this, a hell of a lot of energy, and it can be a bit of a minefield to get to that conversation with people going through that process. And yeah, I think if people know where they're going with it and why they want to do it, then great, more power to them, you know.
So that's the focus, you know, with your clients. You would look at the why, and once you've got the why, then you work with that.
Yeah, spending the time to go, why do they want? With girls, generally it's the legs, bums, and tums. You know, they want a bigger Kim Kardashian butt and a flat stomach, and the guys want bigger arms, bigger chest, bigger back and abs. Not too bothered about the legs, you know. And it's, well, straight away we've got imbalances on both those sides. You know, you look at the general trend with female fitness for women, and it's like, well, you want a big butt and abs, but what about your upper body? Like, you've got to keep everything balanced. And the guys, you want the bigger upper top, but nothing to stabilize out of the lower body. And if there's an imbalance with the physicality, there's obviously an imbalance with the mind. Like, why do we just want that approach? You know, it should be the whole picture. It's not, you know, we are only as strong as our weakest link, and knowing why we're avoiding that weak link and why we're highlighting on something else will tell us so much about ourselves. And if we're prepared to face that, great. You know, it took me years to get out of it. You know, when I realized what I was doing, it didn't stop overnight. It was a long ass road to being able to move to actually enjoying the holistic side of training. It's finding what is the right way for you, but knowing that it might not be where you want to go or where you are right now. With reflection, self-reflection, understanding, or the right line of questioning and being honest with ourselves, we'll find the answers if it is for us or it isn't. You know, again, everyone's doing their own thing. That's cool, but know the truth about it.
Yeah. Can I ask you, did you feel insecurity as you got smaller?
Yeah, major. Yeah, real bad. To, you know, you'd have to wear the right clothes. I was 85 kilograms at my peak. You know, I'm as you can see, quite lean, and I'm not tall. I'm just under 6 foot. But my natural body type is small. Like, I had to graft. Like, I train twice a day at points to stay big. You know, before I go out, right, let's get some press ups in, lad. You know, let's get the pump going, and eating all these protein shakes, which we know that isn't even food. You're just putting more crap into the body because it's synthesized. And it wasn't good, but it was to battle that insecurity. You know, it's to make me feel good about myself and to get attention. You know, and to be accepted. Or my conception of what acceptance was anyway, because obviously I hadn't accepted who I was and what my natural body shape is, and what training will facilitate that, because you do have smaller people, you have bigger people, have a lot stronger people. Like, you know, play to what you are. If you're trying to be something or work in another realm that you're not, like, you know, a brick can't turn into a piece of wood. It's just know what it is, be who you are, and learn to live in your natural state. But it takes us trial and error to get there, doesn't it?
Yeah. This brings me back to something that I really noticed in La Paz in Bolivia. I really noticed it because apparently among all the countries in South America, they have the highest native population.
Right.
And the Native Americans in that part of the world are quite small physically. And what I realized was, and I could see it very clearly, was that if someone's that natural size in our culture, by the time they hit a certain age, they've either got a massive beer gut, or they've spent years in the gym necking all the protein powder and maybe steroids to try and compensate and hide their natural physique. And what I loved over there was there were always small guys everywhere who were just their natural physique. And they were obviously perfectly happy and comfortable in their skin and perfectly strong enough and able to function being their natural size. And the contrast was so dramatic and so noticeable. And it is something that I've actually come to almost rebel against, because like you, I'm quite a natural lean build. And all my life people are telling me you've got to put on weight. And then with all the magazines, on all the movie stars, and all the pressure in that regard, it really does put a mental pressure on you. And I almost rebel against it, and it's actually quite difficult. I remember the reason I asked that question was because I actually remember feeling almost naked without my muscles as I lost the muscle, as I stopped training. And I had to learn to accept this is who I am. I had to also learn to accept that certain people will say certain things, and that's okay, because that's, you know, that's their opinion, and that's okay. I know that I'm perfectly healthy and functional as I am, and I don't need to conform. But it is difficult. It is difficult. So how do you help your clients if they are suffering from that kind of body image thing, which is, it's the norm in our society? How do you help them?
It is. It's that big challenge again, because it's a friend of mine. His partner was just looking through Instagram. She's, you know, her head's on her shoulders. She's a very conscious girl, and just a very, very happy person in general. And just scrolling through Instagram, and a lot of the pictures that come up were these models, and they're all looking good. All these women, you know, in the bikinis, and expert pictures taken and enhanced. Or, you know, it's something that they don't even look like that themselves, you know, in those pictures. But even her, who's quite aware, was like thinking, oh man, maybe I need to train like this or change this about myself. And there it is. Look, it's coming from outside. That aspect there, it's coming from what somebody else looks like, or what somebody else thinks you should look like, or what you think somebody else thinks about you. You know, and once the first part, I think, is looking at you. What do you want to achieve? Again, why? Why do you want to achieve it? And if I want to, for me, okay, I want to look bigger. I want more attention. I want to feel good. I want to cover the insecurities. Why? Because I don't feel good. Why? Because I think other people think like this about me. Okay, so it's my idea of what other people think about me, and that I'm not good enough as who I am. Well, let's look at what I've got first. Am I alive? Yeah. Is my health okay? Well, it wasn't then, because I was hardening myself up so much, but I'm alive. I've got no disabilities, nothing that stops me. You know, nothing medically, nothing that will get in the way. Good quality of life, really. I'm in England, I'm in Manchester, like nothing to complain about, really. So, okay, where's that come from? Well, then I had to look back at how I felt growing up, and the state of the media and everything is coming from outside, and thinking I have to change myself to fit like this, and only then will I be good enough, only then will I be accepted, only then will I achieve things I want to achieve. And it's not achieving the right things. It was always working so hard to just be me. And it wasn't even me, you know. It was working so hard to uphold this image, and training twice a day, and taking the steroids, and, you know, fighting my own natural body pattern. And yeah, that self-realization is, you've got what you've got. You know, everybody's here, I think, on this earth. They have their own natural rhythm of things. They have their own flow, their own gifts, their own skills. And you've got to look at that buffet and see which food it speaks to you. But that food is, when you taste it, you go, yeah, this is the one. This is my favorite meal. Okay. Find that in every other aspect. Find it in your thought pattern. It's not causing any conflict in the mind. Find it in the way that you train. Does it feel good? Do you enjoy it? You know, you don't have to train intensely hardcore every single day. Just do 20 minutes of movement to look after your back. You know, you don't got to run away from lions anymore, man. You like, just do stuff that's going to keep you active at the very least to look after your body. If you want to run 10Ks or marathons or whatever, brilliant, you know, do it. But for your general well-being, for quality of mind and body and health, doesn't have to be like that. It can just be 10, 20 minutes movement in the day, you know. The flow of your mind, the flow of your relationships, like it's all that holistic approach, because we'll find all that stuff. If it's out of whack, it'll be out of whack somewhere else, you know. It won't be stable. So we've got to find where it is. Where is this coming from? Where's this drive? And how do I correct it? Is it looking at myself? Is it removing myself from certain influences? Is it getting off Instagram, because then all the other times I'm fine, and not having to look at the things that influence me or plant those negative seeds again? And so when it's coming to working with people, it's opening them up to alternative views, which I think, you know, these level of conversations are becoming more commonplace now. And for instance, Instagram and Facebook, I just follow things that will bombard me with, focus on this to improve yourself, or look at what this guy's doing, it's really cool and he's achieved this, or whatever stuff that will feed the morals and the values, which you spoke about earlier, which will feed that to enhance it. And then you can pass that on to people, because that's the flow you're putting into you. And then you become that itself, and then you're passing it out, you know. And then, yeah, that's what I try and give to my clients is look at yourself, look deeper, look at why you want to do it, look at your influences, look at the stuff you read, Look at what you're watching on TV. You know, it's all your diet. It's all the way we live our life is our diet. The books we are reading, the TV we're watching, the conversations we have, the friends that we have, even to the area that we live in. Like, it's all having an influence if you're not centered in who you are. When you center yourself, when you build your heart out of rock, you know, in the sense of it's not moving away. If you build your house out of the rock, the tide can't wash it away. You build it out of sand, the tide's going to knock it down in and out over and over again. So it's got to be solid, you know who you are.
I like that about everything is diet. You know, everything is an influence that is either nourishing you or harming you or having a net sort of zero effect. You know, everything is, it's like soul food. I always say if I'm going for a walk in the woods, that's my soul food. You know, it's nourishment. And what you're looking at on Facebook, or whether you are looking at Facebook, it's nourishment or it's bringing you down. It's one or the other. It can bring you up or it can bring you down depending on what you choose to focus on. So if you know your goals, like you say, and then you choose, okay, how do I get towards those goals? And it's not just, you know, nourishment is not just the food that you put in your body. It's every other influence. I like that a lot. That's great. So that does lead me to the nourishment side of things. You know, you said before it was powdered stuff in tins. It was, you know, the protein powder. It was the steroids. It was probably high on the meats, you know, anything to bulk up. How has your nutrition, your diet changed? And how has that affected you physically, emotionally, psychologically?
It was a big impact because I was eating all those stuff, the protein shakes daily, as much meat as I could consume, processed foods, you know, things that weren't really on that natural scale of cleanliness, of providing vital energy. So going through that spiritual process of waking up to my effect on the world and also myself and what I'm putting into my body, it helped tremendously. Cutting back on everything, going vegetarian and going vegan for a good 6 months pretty solidly. And I kind of came out of that and integrated a bit more of an easier flow for how I lived. Predominantly now, I'm probably about 80% vegan most of the time. You know, I'll have a little bit of chocolate here and there if I'm feeling like it, and occasionally some eggs. But in general, like, going plant-based has helps me so much. Like, I think there must be that level of energy, definitely, of what you're taking into your body. One, you're turning your body turns that into you. It's not just as simple as, I'll have this processed food bar and then that's fine. Like, no, you're taking in the energy and everything that's built around that. You become it. You're turning it into your body, which is amazing. You know, it's a bloody miracle, really. You transform something into you. So why would you want that to be of the highest quality? And the attitude of looking at what the food is, where it's come from, what's gone into it, is major. You know, I really like the Hindu way that they use their method of food, Ayurvedic, and they kind of go off the vitality of it. You know, if it's fruit or vegetables and it's grown out, it's just come out of the ground, it's still alive, basically. Have you seen the Krillian cameras, I believe they're called, where they can photograph like auras?
Yeah, I've heard of those. Yeah.
That alone, like, you know, you can look at that and go, this food here, this apple's still very alive because it's not been killed. You know, it's fell off the tree and it's still got life in. While you can look at a bit of meat and see, well, it's dead, it's been killed, it is dead. You know, so that vital energy is not there. It's very minimal compared to what fruit and vegetables will be. So for me, that was it was just shifting towards what I want to put into my body. You know, I did the whole hardcore vegan, don't kill animals kind of routine, and then had to take the pedal off the gas of that as well, because not everybody's at the same point and people live different lives anyway. Like, fine, maybe some people may benefit more with fish and meat. You know, that's, again, if you know yourself and you've been honestly and you've tried and tested it for a good while, fair play to you. But if you don't know and you're doing it just out of habit or because you've been taught that way, it's not good enough, really. You know, it's not acceptable in this day and age to run off ignorance anymore with the internet. Like, we have to remove our bias and our informational bias, because there's also a lot of fake info out there. But if you are the experiment, you try and test it, give everything a good minimum 10 days, but I'd say minimum 3 weeks to really see the effect, to know it truly and go, right, yeah, this did work. And now I've just got to work on removing the craving for meat or the craving for sweets or whatever it is. And, you know, that comes with ups and downs. You do really well, then you drop off. Then you do a bit better next time, then you drop off. And then you do even better. And, it sticks longer and longer. And that's the process. That's the process. Just trying as hard as we can at that point, but giving it a fair go.
So those cravings, everybody has them. Do you have any tips for your clients to deal with cravings?
Yeah, it's preparation. It's for instance, if you're working a long day and right, I'm up at 7 a.m. and I'm going to be working straight through till 6 p.m. and then I've got loads of housework to do at home or whatever. And you've got to throw training in as well. Like, you're going to be tired. And when you're tired, you're going to want the sugar. You're going to want the chocolate, or you're going to want a quick ready meal, something that just isn't beneficial to the overall goal. So it's preparation for that day, even the day before work. You've got some people who are great and they will plan all their food on the Sunday. But realistically, looking at that over the years of clients, it doesn't happen that often. But if you can plan in advance the day before, right, you're off to a great start, because you know what the day is going to bring generally. You might have a few surprises in there, but you know what's going to come your way. So you can plan your food to enhance that. Right, today I might need porridge in the morning because I've got a lot of physical activity to do. I'm going climbing with someone, or teach someone martial arts somewhere I'm physically doing it. Great. I'll have some porridge and I'll get the food right, get the fruit in there, have my smoothies and whatnot. Or the next day, I've not got anybody into 12. So I'm just I'll fast till 2 o'clock. I'll just drink water. You can prepare it day by day based on what your routine is. And if you're doing the same thing every day, minor excuses to get the most out of ourselves. If we're not being effective, then who do we have to blame? But again, it's taking time. It's changing those habits. It's starting steady. Definitely believe in start small. Just do the best that you're capable of right now at this minute. What's the best that you're going to be able to do? Some people go, I'm not drinking alcohol anymore. I'm not eating meat anymore. It's like, okay, great. I admire that ambition, but when we find something new, it's like, there's a fire going off and we want to go all in. All you got to do is look at New Year's resolutions. Every single year in the gym, it's get packed for 3 weeks, for 3 to 6 weeks max. It's back down by mid-Feb, March, because it's not realistic. People go off that buzz, look at temporary fixes of alcohol or drugs, or you get that high and you feel great, or you drink and it's like, yeah, life's great, but where does it get you the next day? You either want that instant thing again, and then that becomes the habit and you repeat it over and over again. So you fell down into the bad thing, rather than going, right, I'll have 2 nights out this week, or I'm going to train just 3 times a week for 40 minutes or 20 minutes, make it realistic. And you're already improving. You're already doing better than yesterday. What more can you ask for? If you're doing 1% better than yesterday, keep doing that. You're on the way. And as the benefits come with clearing ourselves out and aligning ourselves with our holistic nature, you want to do more. I was talking to a friend yesterday. I love gherkins, straight out the jar. I'll eat a gherkin. My girlfriend thinks I'm really weird for it. It's just strange that you do that. And I noticed when doing a fast, coming off a fast, I just want lighter foods, and I was really craving gherkins. That's when I noticed, the cleaner I am, the more specific foods I'm aware that I want. I don't want to eat the crap stuff because I'm feeling lighter and I'm healthier. And maintaining that practice then when eating food, the lighter stuff, or if I require a heavier meal, get the rice in there, get the quinoa in there, get sweet potatoes or something. You just stay on the healthy spectrum, because that crap's not in the body anymore. The scratch that's going, yeah, let's go for a big dirty burger and some fries and some chocolate, it's gone. It's like, I like this. But knowing I'm going to be tired the next day from working late, right, get a bit of dark chocolate in and prevent the worst case scenario, and it's holding ourselves accountable to it. That's being responsible for ourselves. That was a big kick in the ass for me to go, come on, got no excuses anymore. You know the knowledge, do it.
Yeah, I like that, being responsible for yourself. That's something on this broadcasting course that I've just done. Talk about extreme responsibility.
Yeah, it's the key, really, isn't it? We can blame everything, even psychologically. Look at where I hang ups all my insecurities when I was training, or even going into vegetarian and veganism and being so over the top with that. It's all coming from the psyche and our view on the world and our view on ourselves, and that's what needs to be looked at. And the one thing we can't constantly blame is how we were brought up, or the friends or the school system we had. There's due responsibility to those people at a certain point, but when we realize I've got to sort this out, okay, we've got to stop blaming now. We've got to look at how we sort it out. And a lot of us don't want to, we want somebody else to have it. We are where we are. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. That's a powerful point. So you mentioned how it all starts in the psyche there and in the mind. but and your worldview. And that brings me to the next. You've given me a list of things, areas we might want to explore today, and some of that is, it's stuff that will expand certain people's mind view, and I'm sure it's stuff that once upon a time you wouldn't have looked at. But I've got here, spirituality, lucid dreaming, this kind of thing. So what is lucid dreaming? How did you get into that?
This is like my favorite spiritual practice. My favorite practice is lucid dreaming. And what lucid dreaming is, it's the act of becoming conscious in the dream. So the unconscious state of dreaming, we realize that we're dreaming. Here I am. I'm in a dream right now. So where we are right here in your garden, if this was the dream, I might just notice something's a bit funny or something's off, or the old flying pig might go past. Well, that doesn't normally happen. What's going on? And then a reality check would ensure, which is like, I look at my hand, go look away again, look back at the hand, and the brain can't recapture that same image. So I might have 7 fingers, or I might have a lobster claw or a really long finger, and then I go, I'm dreaming. And at that point, when you realize you're dreaming, you're in conscious control of the whole dream. You can do anything that you want to do, anything you can put your mind to. Your imagination is the only limit in that sense. And it's a fantastic practice. It definitely changed my life. I had a great experience from it. Some of my most profound and moving experiences have happened through lucid dreaming. And yeah, I absolutely love it. Looking at Inception is probably people's most mainstream view of it, the movie Inception by Christopher Nolan, which is a great movie. But that kind of doesn't really dive into the whole world of it. That just gives one sort of spectrum of it. But, how I got into that was from that meditation experience with Buddhism. Again, I was looking into alternate states of conscious, which brought along with it psychedelics, and brought different aspects of meditation. They also brought lucid dreaming, and I've always had clear dreams from when I was a kid. Always remembered my dreams. So I thought, okay, I'll look into this. And the first thing I came across was a guy named Charlie Morley, who was a lucid dream instructor, who coincidentally had ties to Buddhism through it as well. So that hit the nail on the head. I was like, okay, I'll get this guy's book. And I went to one of his workshops, and yeah, he's a spectacular teacher. He's a great guy. And I learned a lot from his teachings, from his book. And I did one of his retreats as well, which was a 5-day lucid dreaming retreat where it's in intensive practices. And the second night of when I'd read that book, I had my first lucid dream in that short space of time, and it absolutely blew me away. I was like, all right, there's something in this. I've been practicing that now for 4 years, and yeah, it's amazing.
So how has it, you said you benefited from it. How has it helped your life, and how can it help other people's lives? What's the magic ingredient here?
Okay, well, we're going to get a bit esoteric now. So we've gone from the standard food and training to next level.
This is the bit I like. This is what it's the real good stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely grounded principles where it can help. So, for instance, if you've got a fear of something I struggle with was public speaking. So what I'd be able to do in a lucid dream is put myself in that environment where I'm publicly speaking, and you've got the conscious awareness that I am dreaming. I'm the one who's in this whole environment. I can move things. I can fly out the room if I want, or turn the room into a packet of crisps like that. Anything you put your imagination to and believe, you can make happen. So it's a great area to confront your fears. You can do inner healing work. You can talk to your inner child and have that conversation to find out why that bit of you is repressed, and talking to the pain and the understanding of it. You can talk to people who've passed on. You can have healing relationships with friends or family that you might find it extremely difficult to talk about to them in real life, and you do get that genuine sense of healing. And yeah, that's one aspect of it.
Yeah, so you said talking to your family, things like that.
Yeah.
Do you feel is your soul connecting with their soul, or is it just an imagination thing? What do you think is going on there? Something's
going on, because the feelings I've had through doing work related to that has been realer than real. It's like you get the full effect here. We might feel a bit of love and happiness, or we have a great conversation or a moving conversation, and we feel it, and it's nice. But in the dream, it's like turned up. It's turned up from a 1 to 100, like straight up. We're going way past 10. We're going right to 100, and it's quite overwhelming. Something's happening. They say that the Buddhist views that you're closer to your enlightened state in the astral body, in your dream body, and I'm inclined to believe it. You know, I'm inclined to think that that's the reality of it. And there are the aspects of it, it's just in our mind and it's in our head, or it's in another plane or another dimension, or again, who knows? You've just got to go off the evidence and the information out there, or mainly have your own experience. So for me, something's definitely happening because I felt it. I woke up in tears the next day. It's been that moving.
So for someone else who might want to try this, where would they start?
It's another practice. It's the main thing for me was the self-belief, was telling your mind that you can do it. You know, it's not subscribe to certain people. You've not got to be mystical. It's training your mind to realize that you're in a dreaming state. You know, it's doing reality checks in the day. So maybe every hour you'll just check your hand. You look away and you check your hand again and ask, am I dreaming? Or you'll have like a totem, like an Inception, and they have the spinning top. Or here I have my coin, which I always carry around in my pocket, and every time I feel it, oh, am I dreaming? Just checking. Or, you know, one of the practices that they do in the Tibetan Buddhism is they'll spend maybe the whole day or more just in that zone that everything's a dream. Every encounter I have is dream based. These people are just dream characters. And it's not just saying the words, it's embodying it, it's feeling it. You know, like if you want to feel joy or happiness and you think of a happy memory and you feel it, you do the same with the dreaming. This is a dream. I'm not, am I dreaming? It's like, am I dreaming? Am I in a dream right now? And then the more you live that state, the more it'll occur in your dreaming state, the more you'll wake up. And yeah, there's many other practices as well, but that general daily state of awareness is very beneficial. And writing your dreams down, you got to write your dreams down every day.
Okay. And these dreams, you've obviously been writing them down.
Yeah. You're
going to publish them?
Nah, I don't think they're. For me, they're not for publishing. For me, it's the same way yoga. You know, I implement yoga movements with my clients, but I'm not a yoga teacher. I just enjoy the practice and doing little bits with people.
Yeah.
For this, the dream stuff it's for me. It's solely for me, but it's also letting people know that you can do it too, and you'll have some of the best experiences in your life. Mm-hmm. And if anybody ever wants to talk about it to me, I'll sit there and I'll chew their ear off all day, you know, and the enthusiasm about the lucid dream will pour out of me. And going from the standard experience of working with yourself to working on some greater spiritual levels, like, it's accessible to all of us. And once you've had a taste of it, you know, you're sold. How could you not want to go back to it?
Yeah. So in terms of dreaming, what's your view on what reality is? Because, you know, you mentioned you're looking at your hand and go, am I dreaming? Am I not? You know, is this a dream? Is it not? What is reality? You know, you've done obviously a lot of exploration through your dreaming. You mentioned psychedelics as well. What do you think this whole thing's all about? What is this?
Well, I will play with different states of mind. You know, I've been through a period where I will literally just think this world is a dream. I will sit with that and I'll adopt it as if it's real. I'll take the approach that, you know, nothing matters and it's pointless to be here, and then I'll see how that feels and what the realistic state on that is. Or I will look at, here it is, I've got to try and get light, and then I'll work on that. You know, there's so many different understandings of what we want our reality to be or what it could be. That again, like the values and the morals, we've kind of got to apply our experience of what it is right now and work with that. And you can only expand that experience or that perception by having more further out experiences, which is, I know lucid dreaming is real because I've had the experience. Somebody who might hear this for the first time might be going, nah, that's not real. Well, okay, they've not had the experience. Once you have, then your perception has grown because you can't deny it anymore. It's no longer a belief or a denial. It's real. So for me, I don't know. I currently like the idea that this reality here is possibly a ladder for the achievement or the decline of where the next life could be, or as consciousness as a whole, because we can literally be and do whatever we want to do, you know, based on our limitations, based on what we think that we're capable of or what we're not capable of. We've just got to look at how big our fears have held us back for years, and then we go and do something and instantly it's gone and realize, oh shit, I could have done this years ago, you know, and I could have been on a higher level of understanding that your fear is just an emotion that you have to work past to then find another level of freedom. And I think that is really where I'm at the minute, is knowing that it's limitless and it's up to you to get to the point of where you believe you're capable of. Because if you know, working with people who've literally been stuck in defeatism and self-pity and thinking the world owes them something, oh, it's tough, I can't do this, oh, that's not going to happen, or, you know, fine, you know, you're in your right to feel like that if you want. but you can be enjoying life and you can work through the hard stuff if you want, if you've got that strength and resolve. And for other people, it's a much more difficult journey, but it's still achievable and it's still possible because the mind is shaped in any way you want. When you realize what you feed the mind is, it's going to shape from that. You can start working on the crap and start bringing in the good stuff and expanding experience. You know, psychedelics did that majorly for me. Lucid dreaming did that majorly for me. So it's up to us. And, you know, fortunately, I'm holding on to the back of that train and it's just taking me to wilder and wilder places. And I'm seeing instant manifestation and synchronizations occurring everywhere to points where, yeah, it's happened over the years and I believe it. But now it's like, well, you believe it, start bloody using it. You know, stop letting it just come to you when you've got this little bit of belief. Like, go all in, give it the full faith and everything it deserves to get the most out of it. You know, you are Neo in the Matrix. You just got to realize you're the one. You know, you've got to go and fall off that building while Morpheus does a jump and you hit the ground and you're like, ah, shit, I can't do that. I'm not the one. And be told you're not. And then Morpheus gets taken away and he's like, nah, that's my friend, man. I can't let him be killed. And he has to go in. And on that trial, he goes, holy shit, you know, I can fly. I can dodge bullets. He gets killed. The ego death. He dies. Everything he believed, gone. Comes back. He's resurrected as the one. He's the being. He gets it, you know. And he flies away at the end of that film. I'm like, oh, man, that is life summed up. That's us. You know, that is us. We just need the trials to go through to realize it's us and stop denying it, you know, accept it. And that's where I am now. And that's what I think the world is at the minute, to raise that conscious level up for whatever's happening next.
Yeah. So you said, you know, that's where you're at now.
Mm.
And you mentioned those people who are living in a different state of mind where it is full of self-pity or doubt or they don't believe. And you must have been in that place yourself before you got to where you are now. How would you help people to get out of that? What could you advise them? Because I know I'm okay at some things, but in many areas, I know I completely and utterly limit myself and I doubt myself and I have doubts about things that I know to be true.
Yep.
So how do you help people out of that funk?
With using myself as an example again, like, don't get me wrong, there's still a lot that I'm working on, like the fears. You know, only recently be getting into the taking a course on public speaking to get rid of this limiting fear I have about what I have to say doesn't carry value, or, you know, nobody wants to hear it, which harkens back to the physical image thing. Like, it's still there in other forms. It's not been fully pulled out, but it's been chopped down. It's been worked on. And, you know, they're going to be there till we get to that point of absolute freedom where everything's gone. So it's wanting to work on it, you know, because it's much easier to turn away and go, I'm just not going to do that. You know, it won't bother me again because I won't go into that. But if the fear's been triggered, it means we've got to see what it is to become more whole. You know, the way I look at it and talk to about with clients is, so you've got this big dense energy, which is a fear. And it's just painted in that color. Like, it can be a good positive energy, but we just see it as, oh, that thing's scary and I don't want to do it. So you've got this big fear and you're pushing it down inside. You're like, nope, you're staying there. You know, I don't want to look at this fear. I don't want to go and confront this issue that I have. So when you've got this energy that's being blocked out, it's not being able to rise. So we're wasting energy there. And you've also got the suppression of the energy, which is costing more energy to suppress it. And every time we dodge that fear or we turn away from it, we're working against the energy. When if we let go of it, you know, you remove the block and then you let the fear come out and you turn that energy around by going into the fear, you have that. The first night I did my first public speaking presentation, I was scared, man. I was up there and I was shaking, but I thought, I don't care what it's going to look like to other people anymore. Like, I need to get rid of this fear because this is what I want to do. I've got a lot to share. I can't share it if I'm afraid, you know? So going into that, I literally once, you know, did that about 6 o'clock, got home, 8 o'clock, talking to my girlfriend about it. And like, I had an amazing energy, definitely woke something up in the heart. Like, I was just beaming with energy because that fear energy came out and I used it. So it's confronting them. Small ones, bit by bit.
And here you are speaking into a mic and it's going out on the internet again. So yeah, this talk, I actually did see it this afternoon, this morning, while prepping for this interview. So what was this process that got you to public speaking, and where can people find your talk?
The process was wanting to actually accept what it is that I want to do and making sure I do something about it, because I definitely didn't have this attitude, and for a long time I was just living in fear and afraid of who I was and what I want to do, and it actually what I think counts, and I can have effect on people's lives. And, you know, it turns out like personal training was a way of me actually being able to connect and to share with people and to help empower other people. But it's always important to look at what it is that we're doing, or the world that we want, or what we're investing in, because that is the world that we want. So I'm connecting with people while I was insecure and helping other people fix their body issues or help them feel better. When what am I doing about my own? So we'll be outputting it somewhere, and it's like, turn that inside as well. And then the more experience I've got with healing myself, the better and the deeper I've got with clients. And especially when I did my spiritual turn and turn life towards that way, like I get some wonderful messages from people, like moving messages. And it's like, wow, and that's just because I decided to admit who I am and do what I want to do and face my fears. And that helps other people. Like, how can I not continue down that path no matter how scary it is? Because I deserve it to myself and to other people and to the world. Like, it's not my choice of what I'm literally, what makes me passionate, what fires me up, what I feel love about. I don't pick that. You don't choose Steven Spielberg. You don't choose the dream chooses you. Like, whatever you dream about, what you're invested in. You've not said, oh, I want to dream to complete this, or I want to invent the airplane. Like, something came about where I want to build something. I want to be creative. I want to make music. You don't know what the song's going to be, but the artist makes the song. Like, you didn't have it in mind, otherwise it'd be there. He makes it, that's already there waiting to come out, and we're just the tools to get this stuff out. So it was removing that sort of, oh, who do I think I am to achieve this or to help people, and to get rid of that negative look that I'm not worthy of doing it, or nah, nobody's going to listen, or I'm too scared to do it anyway. And feel like, no, because it's been in my head for years and I want to do it, so you've got to move ahead with it. And the advice I give to my clients is you just start small. If you get working with clients with anxiety, if you get anxiety when you're in a restaurant, something simple as you think people are going to look at you, or you panicking on the tram, and it's like, that's okay. Like, it's all right. It's nothing bad. That's just how we're feeling. Do we want to work on it and get rid of it? Yeah, okay. All right. So we start small. Maybe we just go out into a small cafe first, or then maybe we just go into a restaurant a week after that, and you realize, oh yeah, I'm a bit scared, but you know what? I do feel good. One of my clients was afraid of socializing and meeting new people, and for that getting very lonely, very alienated, and out of sync with the world, because we're a cooperative unit. We all work together, and if we feel like that, we're not going to feel good. So it's like, okay, let's get on meetup.com. Let's find when a social gathering for people who feel like this want to go to. Did that, bit nervous, people start talking. All right, next week goes again. 3 weeks later, she's booking like 3 a week because it's grown. And then she's seeing people who felt like her, and she's helping them, because she's conquering her fears. So it's bit by bit we find them. And it's a wonderful thing. But to get back to where the talks are, and they'll be on my website, which is cslifeholistics.com, and my Facebook, my Instagram page, which is cs_lifeholistics, and just putting stuff out there regularly. And not got that much content yet, but I just did a workshop with a friend from Spain, from Fear to Fulfillment. It was called From Fear to Fulfillment. It was about going through anxiety. You're going about anxiety and fears. A 4-hour workshop on how to overcome them, and using meditation. And we're doing that again in London next month, actually. So yes, it's just a start, just the start of the iceberg. There's so much to get out of there. I'm currently writing a book, which will hopefully bring a lot of help. And even the process of it, it's amazing just to get it out, even if it wasn't to ever go anywhere, just to write stuff down. You can never go wrong with getting a journal and just writing down how your day's been and how you truly feel.
So what's your book going to be about?
The book is going to be about these 4 energetical systems that we have. And again, over my 11 years of experience working with one-on-one clients, with couples, with businesses, it's the individual or as a collective to take your energy, get a deeper understanding of yourself. There's these 4 types of energy which I've witnessed that we have. Is your physical energy, your physical being, your mental energies, your thoughts, your emotions, understanding of your emotional energy, and your spiritual energy, like the understanding of your spirituality. And each one of those categories has major implications of where we are and who we are and how we feel. And let's say the physical energy, we're not looked after the body's going to feel tired where we put crap food into it. We're not going to be able to achieve our overall goal, whatever that is, because we've not got enough energy. Or your body might be in great condition, but emotionally you're closed off, or you have too much emotions and they're not controlled. So then there's a failing there. Your mental energy. You might have terrible quality thoughts. You might be overthinking and consuming so much mental energy. You might want to change your thoughts to a more of a positive thing to align it with your goals. And the spiritual part is your understanding of yourself, your view of the world, your view of the universe, your position in it. And it doesn't have to be what somebody else says. It might be something brand new that you believe, but if it's positive and it serves that purpose, then great. And you align these 4 categories to your one main goal. So rather than having several different categories of goals, trying to pull in all these different goals, you align it to this one main thing and you work on that. You smash that and then you get to the next one. Is working on, let's say your physical goal is, right, I want to get big arms, I want a big chest. And you're driving for that, but emotionally, you want to feel self-acceptance and you want to be happy with yourself, which will tie into the spiritual goal as well. And it's like, well, hold on, does that physical goal match up with my spiritual and emotional goal? And what are my thoughts towards it? So those energy systems, they're not aligned. They're going in different ways. So the book really is about aligning those energy systems, knowing the attributes of each of these 4 points and making them for maximum efficiency to have a goddamn awesome life, and to pass that energy on and to help it grow and spread it out. Yeah, that's what I hope to achieve with it.
Brilliant. And in terms of aligning towards a goal, what is your goal? What is your purpose and passion in life that you are aligning your 4 energy centers towards?
Right now, it's just complete self-acceptance with who I am and with what life is, and sharing it out, just sharing the energy out, and having this conversation right now. I'm buzzing. I'm alive. I can feel my cells. Like I feel the shake. It's great. So for me, it was going into for like the public speaking is because I love it. I just love this conversation and I love the response people give and to hear their opinions, and it's having the conversation on a higher caliber and getting new ideas. And there used to be a point where I would disagree with somebody's view on life or their philosophy, or look at religion, bang, they're against each other when essentially they're talking about the same thing, but my view is right. Well, you're right to you, but somebody else can be right as well. And when you get to that point, there's so much freedom in being able to listen to everybody and share this magnificent energy and support somebody else in their views and being able to give them questions towards it. Maybe you shake the foundations a little, but then you come out knowing, no, I do believe what I believe, or actually I've changed because of the sharing we've just had. So to get to my point is to just keep this going, keep digging deeper into my own energy, to share it out and to get an understanding of what it is that this existence is about, going into all aspects of that, spiritual, physically, emotionally, mentally, getting it to the peak that I can, and keep going forward and let it take where it wants to take. Like maybe I'm into the workshops and the seminars and the talks now. I'm writing the book, but I'm open for that to change in a year, in 5 years, and I don't know what it's going to be. But if I'm aware of the level of energy of what it is, which feels like I'm in the flow, then I'm in the right place. If I'm not, and the personality's got in the way or desires have got in the way, then I'm out of whack. And it's got having that refined process and knowing it quite well now. I know if I'm doing something right or not.
Okay, and on a similar vein to what you just said, how would you? What could you say to someone who's struggling to find their path and struggling to find their purpose, or struggling with the courage to follow their purpose? How would you, apart from saying come and see me, what advice let's say there's someone who can't come and see you for whatever reason, what advice could you give to a listener out there who's struggling with these kind of areas?
One, I think it seems increasingly hard to know what we want to do. And I feel very fortunate that right now I am in that space because I haven't been before. But I did enjoy, for instance, personal training. So I've always had this level of, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. But to find it, it can be difficult. There's doing a Venn diagram. So, you draw one of those big circles and you have 4 circles and you try and get to the middle point of each part of what it is that you enjoy doing. Is what makes you happy. Find out what it is, all those different aspects that make you happy. What are you passionate about? Like, what is your drive? What do you want to share with the world? What do you want people to truly see about yourself? And having that to admit is like, okay, I want to have conversation with people and I want them to listen to talks. Or for instance, you wanted to do an interview with people and you've done that now. So that's something you've done and you get to share that out. But how hard it is at first to know that I do want to do that, but I don't want to share. I don't want people to hear my voice, kind of thing. Like we all have that, but really deep down, it does want to be out there. It does, and we're just trying to coat it away from ourselves to protect the ego, really. The fear side of ourselves that we don't want to confront. So that strong, piercing knife of truth is what we require. But to know what you want to do is finding the passion, finding what makes us happy, what the world could do with more of that falls in line with those two other aspects, like that you're passionate and happy about, and how can the world benefit from it? Like, what can you teach or give or share or just do that benefits the world? Because that can be somebody who just likes to do gardening. I mean, I love gardening, and it might move somebody that much that that's what they want to do, and it's a great attribute to the world, or you've even got people who on so many different varied spectrums. Like somebody might really enjoy cleaning, so they decide to clean an office building, and great, you're doing your part. If that's what you love and you're passionate about, then go do it. It can be from public speaking to cleaning, whatever. There's no scale of what's right or wrong. It's just, are you in the right zone for it? And to get the courage to do it, and this is work. It's not easy. I look at my journey, especially from the point where I hit the spiritual part of life 6 years ago. Like, even that process, it continues on, and I had to push myself to, the biggest one probably was doing the public speaking and being prepared to stand up there and shake and talk in front of people. But I knew, like with the meditation experience, what that gives is so much greater than the fear. The courage has to be, it comes from it, like the fear will be there. And the fears are always going to be there, but the more we go into it with the courage, the more of those little fears we do, we build up to the bigger ones. Now, liken it to some of my younger clients, generally males, who like video gaming, and it's like, if you're going to fight the boss in the video game, you don't go straight from level 1 to fight the big boss at the end. 10 levels down the road, you learn new skills. You might get new weapons or movements, and you fight bosses that are an attribute to the skills the experience you've gained in that game, and then you're ready for the big guy. It's the same with the fears. Start steady, build up. Go into the little aspects of courage that make you feel good. Simple as looking a stranger in the street in the eyes. That's a big deal for a lot of people, myself included. I was working on, go, right, let's just look at some people in the eye, and 8 out of 10 people look at the floor. That you'll get that bit of engagement, and then bang, eyes down. Or you notice the little quirks, like they'll move the face a little and then look at the phone, and it's like, wow, it's everywhere. But that it's being empowered enough to do it, to actually not care so much on the other person's reaction, and not in a way like, oh, that person's looked away and I'm stronger because of it. It's like, show them, look in their eyes and smile without caring if they smile back or not. You open the door, and whether somebody says thank you or they walk through or not, it doesn't matter. You open the door, you just be happy about, without the want of something back.
Like the flame and the moths.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Now, a few questions I want to ask you before we wrap up. We talked a lot about your journey here today. If you could go back and talk to young Craig, who's just starting out in the gym, what, if anything, would you say to him?
That young Craig, I don't think I'd get through to. At that time, I was just so driven by thinking, it's about the gym, it's about my image, it's about living that life. It was so ingrained. So it'd have to be a big slap to wake up, to get the experience of, it's not about that. But I would tell Craig to find who you are, just to find what makes you happy and do it. I remember going into a comic book store when I was younger, and I was just even that scared to pick up this comic book and go and buy it in case I'm being judged or laughed at, and all these things that are like, man, you're killing life. You're not being who you are. You're not letting your energy out to express, because that expression is its own thing. And I just say, be you, find the strength to be you, because this is your life. You're here to be you as much as you can. The Big Bang happened, and it's not finished. That expansion of the Big Bang is still happening now. It's not ended, and we've got to help that process along. And you don't do that by suppression. You don't do that by letting yourself hide away from the fears and the insecurities we have. It's as long as we see that we've got them, and we're going to say, right, I'll work on this. great. You know, you don't have to conquer them in a day, because I haven't. I'm still working on it. But it's like, you have to get that energy out. You're here to be a bit of life. You know, we've got this body which isn't ours. It belongs to the earth, and we've got these emotions and feelings which are just responses to how we see the outside world and the memories that come in from past experience. But behind that is that consciousness, that life that is awake, and that needs to be let go. That needs to get out there. And you do that through self-expression. You do that through being who you are, and not the egotistical side, just being that drive and that heart and that love and that expression. And get it out. Younger Craig will be like, what are you talking about, man? You know, I'm going to go to the gym now, work on my muscles. But yeah, that's accepting that has changed my life, really.
Beautiful. And one final question. You might have covered a lot of it already, because you mentioned your talk. It's the final question I try to ask a lot of my guests. If you had one last talk, so you're able to get up and talk one more time, and this is going out to an audience, it's going out to everybody on the internet, this is your last chance to get a message out to the world, what are you going to say?
I think it's what I'll just say to little Craig then. It's just live, you know, just be alive. You don't know how much time you've got. You don't know how long the people in your life that you love or that you're happy to spend around or even having a problem with are going to be here. You know, we've just got to find what feels good, what raises our level of happiness, of joy, of ecstasy, and get them out there. You know, just grow it, just feed it, make it happen, and don't spend time, you know, 3, 4, 5 years doing a job that you extremely dislike. Oh, if I stay, I might get a raise, or I might make it. Like, if it's over 6 months, and even that's a stretch, but if it's over 6 months and you're not happy, you got to change it. You got to do something about it. If you've got an ache and a pain in the shoulder or the hips and you've had it for years, do something about it. Like, align yourself to your complete, holistic, authentic truth. There's that energy there. And then when you're in that space, life will just guide you. You can surrender then, because yes, I'm looking after my body. Yes, I'm looking after my mental health. Yes, I'm in a good position where I can help others now because I'm more healthy. All right, then you let go, and you'll just find more and more opportunities to discover what it is that you are here to do, and to grow that. And then it spreads, man. Like, it, you know, it's more candles get lit than by that one light, and then they light more candles, because it's not you, it's not personality, it's life doing its thing. Life expands by growing and working in unison and cooperating. You know, when it comes down to ourselves and we're suppressing and we're defeatist, or we hit depression, or, you know, we're in a negative state, life isn't expanding there. You know, don't get me wrong, death is a part of life for sure, but in those states of mind or states of consciousness, it doesn't. It's like, I'm just going to sit in my house and not do anything, or not believe in myself. And, you know, those times might come about, but it's knowing that we can get through them, and knowing that light on the other side that will be there. You just got to go for it. You know, find the people who support that, read the right stuff, get the right stuff on Instagram, watch the right YouTube videos, go to events where people are going to enhance that. You know, just nurture it. And once you're strong inside, you're there. You just keep going. You know, you'll see more fears and challenges, but you can take them on, and you keep doing it, and then it just grows and grows and grows. And that's how you get these phenomenal people that we've got in the world, you know, that are like your Elon Musks or your Alan Wattses or the Buddha or whoever. These people have just gone into what is pulling them, and they've done it. Do we want that or do we not? You know, you got, as much as maybe reincarnation is there or other lives are there, what's happening now? Because you're going to die at some point. So time's ticking. You know, go on, get out there, fight it, go be the fears and go live your life.
Brilliant. And if you've inspired someone to make more of their life and they want to get in touch with you, how can they do that? Where can they find you?
I'm on Instagram again as CS_Life Holistics. The same with Facebook. It's CS Life Holistics. And I have my own website, which is going live next weekend, www.cslifeholistics.com. And yeah, I'm just on there. If anybody wants any help or any self-development, any holistic health, training, movement, spirituality, understanding from my experiences, and just a chat, you know, just a cup of tea, count me in. I'm there. It's just so great to talk to people who want the conversation on this kind of level for moving things forward, for moving themselves forward, for moving other people forward, for moving life forward. I'm pro-life, man. You know, if it's there to have this level of energy, count me in. You know, And if we're not feeling too good, if we've got depression, anxiety, sadness, like, yeah, I'm there too, because we can get through that. It's just knowing how, knowing that people have been through it and you can do it too. We just need the guide sometimes. We just need the right helping hand, and they're out there, whether it's me or not, or it's somebody else. They're out there. We've just got to look, We say enough's enough and we move forward for it.
Wow. This has been an amazing conversation. It's been really energizing and inspiring. And I want to just say an enormous thank you for coming here to my garden today to record this interview. It's the first face-to-face interview I've done. I've been really inspired. I was inspired when you did the Speak Up Challenge. I've been inspired by your words today. And it's been a real pleasure to have you on the Truth, Health, Freedom podcast. So everyone out there, look up Craig Seaton. I'm going to put all his details in the show description, in the show notes. So you'll be able to find him and you'll be able to check out his new website and get in touch and follow up any of the ideas that he's talked about here today. So Craig Seaton.
Thank you very much, Alan. Thank you for the conversation. And you're already doing it. You're being inspiring yourself, doing what you want to do. And yeah, thank you very much for having me, and keep doing it, man. It's awesome.
Bro, thank you very much. Cheers.